Hey, ladies and gents, welcome back. We're going to be doing a what if video. As per usual with this channel, it is going to be based on Naruto. However, I'm including a different anime in this as well, also known as Jujutsu Kaisen, because it's pretty fucking good in my opinion. And one of my favorite characters behind, Satoru Gojo, because, he's pretty badass, if I do have to say so myself, would actually be Sukuna. Now, originally this was going to be what if Naruto was the reincarnation of Gojo, but then I decided against it, because I, looked it up, and there was already, 3 or 4 of them that I saw, and I didn't really want to be, do what's already there, and I didn't find nearly as many of what if Naruto was the reincarnation of Sukuna, so here we are. So in this what if, obviously Naruto is going to be born, however something is going to be very different. Naruto is going to be the reincarnation of Sukuna, obviously. This does not mean, oh, Naruto is the vessel. He can actually eat, the things and do shit like that. No, he can't eat Sukuna's fingers. He literally is Sukuna, so, all 20 fingers. However, he doesn't have the problem with his body not being not powerful enough in order to take the cursed energy that Sukuna's curse actually had. He doesn't have that problem. So Naruto's, or the vessel, I guess, that would be in Naruto to Sukuna is actually powerful enough in order to hold that amount of cursed energy and power, so it is able to live on and actually survive. So with that being said, let's just jump right into the what if itself. One major thing that is going to be very different here is the personality of Sukuna, or Naruto in this what if, as it would be shown. He is not going to be the normal Naruto. He is actually going to be very, very different because, he's obviously Sukuna in this what if. So, Sukuna's personality, he isn't exactly the nicest guy in the world. He's not really known to, be nice like that. His personality is more selfish, cold-hearted, and very, exceptionally sadistic. He really doesn't give a single shit. He does praise his opponents every once in a while if, they actually are genuinely strong. But he's, incredibly sadistic, cold-hearted, and basically those kinds of things like that. So that's going to replicate, and that's going to be the personality of Sukuna, or Naruto in this what if. I'm just going to be calling him Sukuna from now on, just so I don't really, confuse anybody in this what if. So, Minato, everything like that, all of that stuff actually ends up still happening. And because of the fact that Sukuna isn't sealed inside of Naruto, there isn't going to be any issues with the fact that Sukuna wouldn't really be able to replicate or, coexist with Kurama. Kurama's still going to be there, and this is Sukuna in this what if. It is not something that is sealed inside of Naruto, meaning Kurama or, Sukuna himself wouldn't be able to interfere with that, so they're both going to be there, coexisting. So Kurama being sealed inside of Sukuna, who has both of the 2 different actual things. He has cursed energy and chakra, along with, having the 9 tails sealed inside of him, so Sukuna will, be kind of raised, but honestly, he's kind of just living on his own. He's trying to build up his own strength in order to try his own things in the future, because Sukuna was very powerful. He still has a lot of his dormant potential, dormant strength, and everything like that, but obviously, he has a 2-year-old's body. He's not really going to be able to do much with that amount of stuff. So he's going to need to be able to, grow up and get stronger as he gets there. He's very powerful. He's probably already, well, not 2 years old, he's not Jonin level, but by the time he was probably 6, 7, 8, maybe 8, even 8 years old, he'd easily be Jonin level because of the immense amount of natural potential he has, along with, the fact that Kurama would most likely take a liking to Sukuna because of, the personality I was mentioning earlier. Selfish, cold-hearted, and sadistic. That kind of goes with Kurama's personality as well. So they would actually begin to form a bond. So with that actually happening, Sukuna would be going into his mindscape every once in a while. He'd talk to Kurama, because nobody else in the village would really get along with Sukuna all that well, with his personality how it is. He doesn't really want to kill anybody, because, again, he is very strong, but he doesn't want anybody like Hiruzen coming after him, because he doesn't want to die, obviously speaking. He's taking his time. So, with this actually happening, Sukuna does figure something out. He's around 8 years old at this point, and he's obviously not anywhere near an actual mature body. He's still a child. However, he does figure something out. One of the abilities that Sukuna actually had was the ability to regenerate, or the reversed curse technique. Using this ability, he can regenerate different limbs and different things like that. So he can pretty much instantly do all of these different things, and he starts to think, what if he used that? What if he cut off his arm, used the reverse curse technique, but made it into something bigger, something more mature? He decides to try this. Maybe, just maybe, he'll have some control over how this is actually going to work. So he does this. Quickly, he chops off his arm with his own hand because, he has different abilities that he actually used to have before, such as the ability of cleave, or dismantle, or pretty much any of these different abilities, which imbue cursed energy and basically kind of sharpen your hands in a way, allowing him to cut different things with, not even having to use any tools or anything like that, using cursed energy itself. He doesn't have to get a weapon, he doesn't have to do anything like that, and he cleaves off his hand. He tries using this, reverse curse technique, and it actually works exactly how he was hoping it to. His hand completely grows back. However, something expected actually happens. Or, yeah, I said expected, not unexpected. It is actually a completely grown man's hand. It's not, to the point where he was before, but it's around the point where he's probably around a 17 or 18-year-old boy. This is just perfect for him. Now, using his reverse curse technique, he does this to his entire body, cleaving off different parts of his body and regenerating them. He does this over and over again until his entire body is now around 17 or 18 years old. Now, with the mature body, he is much, much more powerful than he was before. Because of the fact that he's the reincarnation of Sukuna, he's going to be kind of fucking OP. So Sukuna goes over and he's just like, okay, it's time to start having a little bit of fun. Now, Sukuna doesn't necessarily have too many goals. He does have goals, but this is a completely different world. He does have a lot of his old memories and a lot of these different things, but this is a completely different world. Some of his goals might change, especially since he's been living here for around 8 or 9 years. So, what is his goal exactly going to be? What does he want to do with himself? So, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about right now. What he's going to want to do is rule the world. Something that, he kind of thought about, but he's like, whatever. I mean, it'll be pretty easy now that I have a body that's this powerful. So, doing this, he's like, okay, no, might as well start with where I am right now. Using his adult body, he decides he might as well start from the top. What's the fun in fighting all the fodder people? What? That would be just boring. And plus, he needs somebody to rule over. What's the point of having all these people around him if they're just dead? Like, there's no really point in having any of that things. So he decides he's going for the big boss himself first. Now, you might think, would this mean Hiruzen? Actually, no. He's going to save him, not necessarily for last, but he's going to go for Danzo and the rest of the elders first. Because of Sukuna's intelligent, he's very, very smart because of the fact that he was a Jujutsu sorcerer originally. He was not actually, originally a cursed spirit. He was originally a Jujutsu sorcerer. So with this kind of thing, he is insanely intelligent, and immediately he realizes that the elders control a lot of what Hiruzen is actually able to do, and he knows if he gets rid of them first, then he'll have a not necessarily easier time taking down Hiruzen, but he doesn't really want them to get a chance to go away, especially Danzo. He knows that Danzo will take any opportunity to run away, and if he's the first one to go, then he can't run away. So he charges forward. He goes straight towards where Danzo is, knowing his exact location. At this point, he doesn't necessarily have all of the eyes implanted into himself. It really hasn't been that long since the Uchiha Massacre, if that has even happened at this point, and even if it did, it hasn't been long since it did, like I just said. Meaning, Danzo wouldn't actually have all of the eyes implanted into himself. If he did have any, it would just be Shisui's eye. But he's obviously not going to be able to use Kodo Uematsu Kami, because Sukuna isn't necessarily going to, take it easy on him. He immediately goes for the kill, not wanting Danzo to be able to escape. So, thinking he killed Danzo with a single blow, he slams his hand straight through him. Using his cursed energy, he easily penetrates. But something odd happens. Danzo's Sharingan actually deactivates. Obviously, he just used the Izanagi or Izanami. I don't remember which one it is, to be honest with you. So, with that actually happening, that is his only Sharingan. He can't die again, nor can he use Kodomatsu Kami at this point. Sukuna's a little confused, but he's like, whatever, I guess, and he does it again. This time using Cleave to chop him clean in half. Danzo has no chance of surviving this, but something actually odd happens. Because of the fact that Danzo has basically a massive bomb implanted into himself whenever he's about to die, that would actually go off here. Sukuna sees this and he's like, okay, let me just get away from that real quick, which he'd be able to do really easily because of the fact that he's even stronger than Sasuke was in his fight with him, and Sasuke was able to get away from it. And even if he wasn't, he'd most likely be able to regenerate from it, so it doesn't really matter either way. Danzo is dead, and the rest of the village knows something is up. Something is happening. They just don't know exactly what it is yet. So now, Sukuna, his next goal is to get rid of the rest of the elders, because they just kind of fucking piss him off. Trying to rule from the shadows. At least the Hokage was doing it right. He put himself out there, and he wasn't, doing it from the back, where nobody would be able to see them, where nobody would be able to harm them in any way, because they don't know they really even exist at that matter. Sukuna has absolutely no respect for them, and he easily kills them without hesitation. Now, Hiruzen would be similar to that in a way, but he does hold some amount of respect for him, so he's going to go easy on him at first. Plus, he kind of wants to enjoy this fight, knowing Hiruzen is a honorable fighter. So, Sukuna would actually begin fighting him. He would begin using probably nowhere near his full strength, and would be pretty easily decimating Hiruzen in this fight. Hiruzen knows every single jutsu known to the Leaf Village, minus Kekkei Genkai and everything like that, obviously, because come on. There's no way Hiruzen would be like, yes, let me just use this. Otherwise, he just would have done it. He knows every jutsu, especially the most OP jutsu he used, which is obviously going to be Sukuna's biggest problem here, is actually pretty obviously, as a matter of fact, going to be the roof tile shuriken, because god damn were those fucking things OP, holy shit. But anyway, jokes aside here, he would pretty easily kill Hiruzen. He enjoyed himself a little bit, and he did give Hiruzen an honorable death. He killed him off rather quickly, as he didn't really want him to, suffer anything like that, as like I said, he had some amount of respect for Hiruzen himself. He did spend 9 years in his presence and knows that Hiruzen is actually a pretty decent person. Now, Sukuna would begin entering his mindscape at this point, because Kurama kind of just made him go there. He looks at the giant fox in front of him, and he's like, what's up, Kurama? Because he actually knows the name of the fox at this point, obviously, because, they actually did develop a bond. And at this point, Kurama's like, I see you're enacting your plan. It seems as though this is going really well soon. But I do have an offer for you. And Sukuna wonders exactly what this is. And at this point, the Ninetales offers him that if he opens the seal, he could actually get even stronger than he already is, although he doesn't really need to be honest. Sukuna considers this a possibility, but then decides against it. He trusts the fox in a way, but he doesn't completely trust it to the point where he just wants to release it like that. He knows how seals work, and he knows that Kurama, at this point, if he did open the seal, could most likely take over his body, and he does not want that to happen. He's been offered a new life here, and he's even stronger than he was before. The strongest person alive currently, at least to his knowledge. So with this actually happening, he decides against it. He might do it later if he really needs to, if he gets to that point where he's not strong enough to be able to do something, but for the time being, he is just going to keep Kurama sealed. He is able to access Kurama's chakra, obviously, because they are friends. It just wouldn't be like a version 2 cloak or anything of that sort. So Sukuna at this point decides, as fun as it was taking over the Leaf Village, which actually was rather easy for him to do, he wants more. He wants to rule over the entire world. That was his original goal, and now he sees that that is more than possible. That's probably actually going to be rather easy for him. However, something actually does end up stopping him. At this moment, this is when Itachi shows up in the village. You may be wondering, why the fuck would Itachi be showing up in the village at this point? Because Itachi did still try to protect the village, and especially his younger brother. And obviously, everybody would actually know exactly what's happening. The Hokage died, all of his elders died, and there's this new guy up in town. It's been a few weeks since, this whole plan was enacted and everybody ended up dying, and Itachi has now showed up to the village, trying to see if his brother is alive and whether or not he needs to get revenge for his death. He sees pretty quickly that Sasuke is still alive, but he realizes just as fast that Sukuna needs to be gone. He's even more selfish, cold-hearted, and sadistic than Danzo was, and he never really liked Danzo in the first place. So, he knows exactly what he needs to do. He needs to get rid of him. So, he develops a plan in order to do so. However, that will be discussed in the next part of this What If. So, peace out, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.